Hi Mel,
Hi,
how you doing? Good to see you.
I'm good, thank you. How are you? Are you feeling
Good.
better?
Oh, trying to.
Oh,
Yeah. I keep thinking, oh, I've had a good day, and then the next day's bad again. But it's just the way of having chronic fatigue, isn't it? So yeah, never mind.
oh, fingers crossed for some more good days.
That'd be good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. How are you? Are you having plenty of good days?
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine. Yeah, all
Right.
good.
Oh,
Yeah,
brilliant. Oh, I'm so pleased.
yeah. I've got my radiotherapy towards the end of April, and it's just 5 sessions, so
Okay, that's
really
cool.
very pleased about that. So yeah,
Yeah, cool.
we're on track.
Yeah. I love your headscarf. It looks amazing.
Oh, thank you. Oh, it's a well headband. There is
Ah.
hair here.
Oh, nice. Great
It
stuff.
moves in the wind, even.
Fabulous. Hi, Emma. Lovely to see you.
Hey.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. I was almost late because I was had this bright idea of rearranging the conservatory like you do, and I'm like, not now, not today, and I'm like, well, so yeah, I'll leave the rest till tomorrow. But
Fair enough.
it's nice to see you all.
Yeah, and you, sweetheart. How was Devon? Was it nice?
Oh yeah, it was lovely. Just a shame we didn't have the weather that we're having now. Um, I mean, to be fair, we didn't have like rain, but it was really just chilly still. Um, but it was nice just to get away. Thank you. Yeah.
Good. And we've got Sheila here with us as well. Nice to have you here, Sheila.
Yay.
Yeah. And maybe more people will join us. I don't know. Maybe they don't realise that it's an hour earlier. I don't know. I did put a lot of messages out there saying it's a different time
You
and
did.
stuff. But yeah, you don't know if people see, do you? That's the thing. So yeah. Okay, well, we shall hope that more people show up at some point. But I think I'll just begin by saying that we are all part of making the history and culture of this dance. All of us, every time we dance, we are. So we kind of need to remember that as much as thinking about things that happen in faraway lands as well as being part of the history and culture of this dance because that is perfectly viable, as is what we do over here. So yeah. Emma, would you like to say anything? Because you're the other host.
Sorry, I had to mute myself because Mike was making a noise. How rude. Um, anyone would think he lives here as well. Um, do you know what I think I have to say is I don't know if other people feel this way. I almost feel slightly embarrassed that I don't know more about it than I feel like I should do with the length of time that I've been teaching and dancing. Um, but I think it's so difficult. I think in one way, like when I first started dancing, yes, the internet was out there, but we didn't have the things that we have now. So we are lucky in that we've got so many different sources now. But also then you don't quite know what is true and what, you know what I mean, it might not be factually correct, and I think that's the difficult. I think to really know, it really needs to come from the source, which is sometimes difficult, but I know that some dancers are doing a great job out there of trying to bring that to the dance community, and I think we're lucky that we've got that. So yeah, I'm just interested in hearing what anyone else has to say about it.
Yeah. Well, we have a few of those dancers have joined us just now. We've got Rachel, who I know is
Yeah.
very into the history and culture with her Rax Nerd newsletter that she does. If you don't subscribe, you need to subscribe to it. It's fabulous. So yeah, let's. Rachel, would you like to join us? And
Hello. Sorry, I've just missed the start and I'm going to have to disappear again in a sec to eat some dinner as well. But hello. Um,
good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
and yeah, sorry, I sort of missed exactly what's going on here. But yeah, the kind of history and culture surrounding the dance is sort of my main obsession these days. So yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I'm so
And
glad.
I'm also really, really happy that you're enjoying my newsletter as well, because that's a new project this year. And I wasn't sure how it would go, but it seems to be going well.
Yeah, it is, really is, absolutely. Yeah, well, it's one of those things. I think this is a bit of a nebulous kind of subject, really, history and culture. It's that there's so much to it. It's such an ancient dance form. It's been around for so long, and there are so many people that have done this over the millennia that it's hard to kind of know where to dive in. And yeah, I do understand what you mean, Emma, by being a little bit embarrassed by not knowing more. Um, and yeah, I mean, over the years, I've read loads and loads of books, but I'm useless at remembering like facts and details and dates and things like that. I'm terrible at doing that. And I kind of think that as long as you're kind of you've got a true heart behind it, and you're not trying to exploit anybody, I think that knowing a little bit and just kind of like pointing people in the right direction is the best thing to do, really. Yeah, I don't know. What does anybody else think?
I'm really enjoying that book that you recommended, but I realised that I haven't read non-fiction since maybe university, which is a couple of decades ago. Um, so it's really bad. So it took me a little while because it starts like really kind of far back in time, it's really, yeah. Um, it took me a little while to kind of get into the rhythm of reading it at all. But it is so interesting. But and like Emma was saying, it's kind of, I suppose it's that thing of um, you know, his story. So yes, but it's very good, that book, at explaining that it's not necessarily what sources it's coming from, and kind of the slant that they may have on it. So yeah, I am really enjoying it. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to hear. So,
Thank
if
you.
you missed the thread in the community chat, I recommended to Mel that she read "The Serpent of the Nile" by Wendy Bonaventura, because it's one of those staple books. When I first started learning belly dance, which was like 25 odd years ago, that was pretty much the only thing that was around. There wasn't too many books around at the time, and there are lots more publications on the market now, which is well worth investigating as well. But yeah, that's a good staple to start with, and also it's quite reasonable to find on secondhand bookstores these days as well. So it's a great one to start with. Oh, had a few more people join us. We've got Carol and Paula. Hiya, good to have you both with us. Lovely. Paula, is there anything you would like to add to anything we've said already, or?
Uh, Obviously, from dancing for like 25 years, I've had so many different teachers and they all tell you something different. It's quite conflicting. So it's quite nice, sort of like Rachel, you're doing your newsletter, that someone is actually researching and relaying it all to us, because sometimes I think I know the history of what I'm teaching, and then I think, oh, I don't know, but someone else has said something else, and then it's all quite conflicting. So yeah, it'll be good to just have a main staple where you find out all the information, to be honest. So you're not here, there, and everywhere trying to find bits of information. So yeah.
One thing I want to definitely say, part no, it's going to seem like I'm just being like trying to promote my stuff, but definitely follow Nisa of St. Louis, also known as Heather D. Ward. Her academic books are published as Heather D. Ward, because she's the person who is doing, I think, the best proper research on this. And then I feel like what I'm doing with my newsletter is taking a lot of what I've learned from her, or that I've been inspired to learn from what I've learned from her, and then kind of putting it into a more like general public format often, because she's doing like the hardcore academic research with like original sources and literally going off to Egypt and interviewing people and stuff. And she posts a lot on social media for free as well, like educational stuff.
Lovely. Yeah, if you want to link to her on the community chat group, that would be brilliant, and then we can all go and look at her things and stuff. That would be brilliant. Yeah, I think there is a lot of confliction because there's a lot of people this involves, and sometimes it's true for one person but not true for another person. So I think that can kind of cause conflict as well. And also in terms of groups, you can be very close geographically, but it can be completely different as well. I think it's kind of important to say that. And Yeah, as long as you're not kind of trying to be derogatory or trying to say that one is better than the other, I think most people are kind of, we're doing our best, basically. And as long as you've got a kind heart behind it, I think that's the best thing. And as long as you point people in the right direction, I think that kind of helps as well. Yeah, I know it can be confusing and it can be conflicting. So yeah, when you do find a conflicting thing, that's where you need to kind of go and study a bit more. But yeah,
If it's all right for me to, I don't know how these work, 'cause I've not been to it, but is it okay to just jump in?
it's fine to jump in. Yes, brilliant.
Yeah, like I've been doing this for not as long as some of you, but I think this is going to be my 18th year of Bellydance, so I've heard a lot of conflicting stuff as well. And as much as I have a solution to this, especially as a teacher, I just kind of file stuff in my head as not only what did I hear, but where did I get it from? And I'll be like, okay, so I've heard this thing, but I've heard it from like this musician from this background, and maybe someone else from another background will say something different. And then when I tell my students stuff, I try to remember where I heard it and not just be like, oh well, this is the truth, but like, well, this person told me this, but bear in mind that, you know, this is their background and this is their take on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's bias in everybody. You know, we have cultural bias, we have, you know, yeah, historical bias. But there's all kind of different aspects of bias that we kind of just need to be aware of as well. So, you know, and how one person says something or tells a story they can change the facts a bit, you know. And sometimes people change the facts just for a good yarn, you know. So you just have to be aware of that as well. Yeah, I'm happy for people to jump in. Like I say, I'm not great with facts and figures, so the whole kind of what area people want to talk about is kind of a bit nebulous. So if there's anything anybody wants to jump in and say, please do.
On the where to source books thing, World of Books was a good site, all used books, so that's nice. And it came in good condition and it came fast and it was free delivery.
Oh, brilliant.
So yeah, so that's and I have actually also ordered one of the books that Rachel mentioned as well, ready when I finish this one. Yeah, the Heather D. Ward, one of those ones. So yeah, so it'd be really good to actually swap resources.
Yes.
You know, maybe yeah,
Yeah. If anybody's
secondhand
got
tables, etc. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, yeah, completely, yeah. And if anybody's got any links or anything, or books to recommend, or people to follow on YouTube and stuff, please post them in the group as well, because, you know, finding sources is always useful. Yeah. So Mel, you're getting into reading non-fiction again then?
Yeah, although I'd quite like a documentary as well, you know, so if anyone can recommend any good
Oh,
documentaries, not
yeah.
that I'm lazy in the reader, but I do find it harder. I'm about halfway through that book now. I can't read it at night because if I read at night, that's like my fiction time and I'll go to sleep. So I have to find time in the day when my brain is alive and awake to try and take it in. But yeah, if anyone knows of any good documentaries to watch as well, that would be gratefully received, and where to find them. I know someone did put a link for YouTube, so I have made a note of that.
Yeah.
A YouTube channel that might be quite good, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Might be
Yeah.
worth doing like a resource list on the Facebook
Yeah.
that people can add stuff to, so that, you know, if we find a good book or a good documentary or something, we can link it there and people can share it.
Yeah. Good idea. Yeah. I've got some. I've been doing like notes and stuff on the group. There are some kind of like downloadable things that I've put in there, files that you download on the group. So yeah, if we wanted to add to those, please feel free to. So yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, because the thing about the thread in the group is it kind of gets buried. So yeah, if we put it on those documents, that'd be great.
Yeah, on the topic of documentaries, I'm pretty sure I've watched some short documentaries, but that were really good because they were literally kind of probably not what we would ever see. You know, from what we know of like belly dancers, it was very much like behind the scenes. And I'm sure it was Jasmina of Cairo maybe that did it. I'll have to try and find it. But it was a good watch, and I really enjoy the little snippets that Zara's been doing as well. and just things like the rules about dancing in Cairo, and all that type of thing. I think it all adds, doesn't it? It all helps with our understanding. So I really enjoyed that, and I've really enjoyed Rachel's emails as well, because there was one and I was just like thinking, oh my God, I was just like so into it, and it's so nice because sometimes I do find like a whole book, if it's like a big chunky book on something, I struggle to like keep my attention and things. But if it's just like a weekly or a 1 monthly or something email, I feel like I'm just getting these pockets of information which are really useful. And then if I want to, if it's a topic I'm like interested in, I can go. There's usually always like links and things. I know Rachel shared a lot of links in her last one, and then you can go and explore that further. And I think that's really useful. So yeah, I think having them somewhere, having like a little library, a little resource for us to like tap into would be so good.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, Abby. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you. Hello. Sorry I'm late, everyone.
That's all right. You're here, which is fantastic. So kind of just to summarise so far, if you're not subscribing to Rachel's newsletter, please do, because it's a brilliant resource. So that's Rachel Borick. She's having dinner, I think, at the minute, but she is in the chat. She's listening away. And Mel's been reading The Serpent at the Nile by Wendy Bonaventura, which is a classic of Bellydance books. So yeah, is there anything you would like to talk about with us, Abby? Sorry, trying to catch you up quickly, but
Yes, goodness. Well, it's such a wide subject, isn't it? I don't know where you start, really.
no, exactly. That's kind of what I felt about it as well. But yes, yeah,
Yeah, I think there's lots of strands, aren't there? There's, I think having as much as you can, an understanding of the history of belly dance, but it's all shrouded in mystery, so much of it. But then again, what's really exciting is to be part of that culture as we move forward, isn't it?
exactly, absolutely, yeah. And the thing is, it's danced in so many different countries, and there are so many ethnic groups that do a variation of this dance. So it's not just the history of one dance; it's a history of thousands of dances, really. So yeah, it's that finding what you love and just embracing that, just like anything, really. I think that's the best way to start. So if you absolutely love Egyptian style dancing, just embrace that history. But if you love Turkish as well, it's kind of looking towards things like Persian dance and things from Russia and that kind of strand of things as well, because there's so many different regions and travellers that go to Turkey that maybe didn't go to Egypt quite so much. So that's why it's quite different. But then in the current kind of take on things, Turkey is very much inspired by Egypt with the current cabaret dancers and things. So it's just finding, and it changes as well. Fashions are always changing, particularly even in the cabaret styles and things. I mean, the dance now, say in Turkey, is completely different to what I saw maybe 20 years ago, and it's the same for Egypt as well. And that, so it's yeah, there's a whole lot.
But isn't that one of the lovely things that we've got? So as it develops, we don't lose what's gone before. I think there has recently been a bit of a resurgence of golden age, hasn't
Yes.
there? Because people just love it, and it's so elegant and beautiful that it can run alongside that. It's not preserving anything in aspic. It's not pretending that it hasn't moved along. But it's so nice that we still have so much, especially with the films. We've got so much to draw on to actually keep it going. If for those people who still want to dance in that style, or keep it alive in a way.
Absolutely, yeah, completely. And again, this is where YouTube and all the modern resources that we have is just so brilliant, because it is preserving it, and we are getting more and more. People are able to actually tell you their own stories, as opposed to it being through a third party, through an author, that kind of thing. It's actually personal stories now, which is even better, because that is complete source, isn't it, rather than somebody who has come from a different culture and has their own bias to add to it as well. So any anybody else like to jump in?
One thing that's really interesting from that book is just all the sort of the contradictive kind of attitudes towards the dance through the years, how it can be sort of respected and is the word reviled in the same way?
Absolutely.
You know, yeah. And I suppose that is part of the mystery of it, is kind of the contradiction and the complexity of it makes it really interesting. But yeah, and just all the many, many different styles. I mean, it just blows your mind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that's kind of the story of womankind, though, isn't it? It's kind of like we are loved, but we are also hated. You know, I mean, the whole
Yeah.
Bible's based on that principle as well, isn't it? It's just that, unfortunately. So it's kind of like always trying to live by men's rules in a man's world, and yeah, they're always changing the goalposts, aren't they? And yeah, so I think it's a very common story for women, and this way that we express ourselves as well, kind of falls into that so much. But yeah, it's interesting to know the various kind of like histories and the fact that thousands of people have been slaughtered in the name of this dance, you know, in various different places and changes of political um, or religious kind of stances and things. And it's just, yeah, it's a story of humankind, isn't it, really?
I suppose that's why women gravitate towards it, because it's celebratory, and for a few moments you can forget all that, can't you? Hopefully, and
Yeah.
just actually get back to what we enjoy doing. And
Yeah.
also the other thing that strikes me about the development of the styles, dancers have always been sort of transportable, haven't they? They've been a transportable commodity, as it were, across the world. So they're bound to pick up on each other. And I love the way different influences have come back and forth from east to
Yeah.
west as well. They've east and west have taken elements of each other's dance and blended it together over the years. That's
Absolutely.
really lovely. So you can't really talk about the pure drop with belly dance, can you? In the same way as you can with some other traditions.
I
Yeah,
think any kind of art form is, it's constantly evolving. It's always changing. So yeah,
I think that dance is kind of a universal language that you don't need to be able to understand each other's words to be able to dance together, and that's really beautiful. And that means that you can take influences from people who you have no other way of understanding, but you can understand their dance.
that's such a good point. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Well, in terms of various transitions and things and how things have travelled, we'll get into a little bit of a history then. The Silk Road is probably one of the major export exporters of all sorts of projects, etc., but particularly dance. So if you think about where the Silk Road kind of went through Russia and through Turkey and across into the Middle East and through there, and that's how a lot of things were transported, including dance styles. And a lot of Indian dance has kind of come into Turkey and also into Egypt, and has kind of been inspired in the dance styles, and also going over to into flamenco as well, where you get the footwork from flamenco from Indian dance styles. So we're finding as well with archaeology how far back humanity goes, much further than we thought, and also how far back it goes that people travelled as well. So the more you kind of watch on the archaeological programs and stuff, you see, oh, actually we were out by a couple of million years or a couple of 100 million years, and actually people have always travelled and they've always intermingled and they've always shared things. So they've always shared their culture and their dancing, So it's always been a case that that's always happened. And it's kind of interesting to note that, and also to kind of see more recent kind of changes and ways things have been exported. So, for instance, the 1892 Chicago World Fair, or 1893, I think it was one of those ones that went over like a year or something, was when Little Egypt was introduced to America, who was supposedly a dancer from Egypt, and she just blew everybody's minds because they come from a corseted society and they'd never seen hip work like that. So that's kind of where we get burlesque from, and I can see Rachel wants to jump in.
Has anyone seen this book?
Oh, I haven't read it yet.
It's massive. I haven't read it yet because it's too big to read in the bath, but I've read a little bit, because this is all about the dancers who came to the World's Fairs and stuff, and as you can see, it's huge.
Fabulous. Oh yes, I must get a hold of that one then. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, so yeah, there was probably quite a few different dancers who were Little Egypt, who all claimed to have been Little Egypt. But like I say, they America took it to heart, and this is where we get burlesque from. So every burlesque house, and burlesque wasn't actually a synonym for striptease like we have now. Burlesque was just a kind of a slightly lower kind of form of theatre, really, than the vaudeville kind of one. So it's just a little bit more working class kind of thing. So that's where the burlesque kind of came from. But then, of course, the removal of clothes came into it. But we have that also, the changing of America watching Egypt and Egypt watching America. And you can see it in the films of the 1940s as well. Whenever you have in America this idea of the Orient, you actually see dancers wearing like a choli top, which is more Indian inspired, really. And they have floating veils and things on. This is their idea of a Middle Eastern dancer and what a Middle Eastern dancer looks like. And then Egypt was watching that, and they kind of imported the whole bra and belly dance belt kind of idea from the States rather than from themselves. It's pure Hollywood, the kind of costume that we have.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to jump in and be a nerd here again.
Please, please, please.
Because this is one of the things that's actually, there's quite a lot of detail about it in one of the books by Heather D. Ward, the Rakshaki Revolution, that she's actually gone back and found lots of historical photos and shown that this story about the Egyptian costume coming from Hollywood, which has been a really popular story for quite a while, that if you actually go back and look at the Egyptian historical sources, then actually you see there's a really constant evolution of Egyptian costumes from like the 1800s through to the 1950s. And that actually Egyptian dancers were wearing basically a kind of tight-fitted waistcoat over a very thin blouse, even going back into the 19th century. And this kind of gradually just got kind of smaller and smaller and smaller, and then they stopped wearing the blouse underneath. So the two-piece costume seems to have kind of had its own evolution in Egypt. That they probably took some inspiration from some of the Hollywood stuff, especially for covering it in sequins. But
yeah, absolutely.
But it's more of a local development than I think people have given it credit for in the belly dance world.
Well, there's always been the Turkish vest in the Turkish kind of styles. So again,
it's like that Ottoman era thing of like the like tight cropped vest, and that's kind of what's evolved into what we recognise as the two-piece belly dance costume.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't forget the Romans were wearing bikinis. There's
Yeah,
that famous
exactly.
mosaic, isn't there? Roman bikini.
Well, you do tend to find that with anything that things kind of like evolve at the same time in different places. There's kind of like this co-evolution kind of stuff happens, and how much there's kind of dialogue between the two is never really particularly clear, but we do kind of seem to evolve in tandem quite often as well. So yeah.
I think it's really interesting that you often see now people assuming that like, in the past Egyptian dancers were all wearing galabeas, when actually, as far as I can tell, that really became popular as a costume in like the 1960s.
Right.
Like the kind of one-piece full-length dress.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that have been popularised by Reda in his style?
I don't know if it was specifically the Mahmoud Reda influence, or if it was more just at that time there was a general move towards kind of the shabby in popular entertainment in Egypt because of the kind of nationalist political climate, and so the music suddenly had a lot more folk influences in it. And I think this is kind of where the dancing in the Galabea I don't know, turned up. I mean, I'm saying that now. I'm thinking, oh, I've seen older like golden era clips with like, especially the kind of shiny assoot dresses, but I don't. As far as I'm aware, it's not like a really old thing. And if you look back at pictures from like the 19th century or 18th century, then it's more this kind of Ottoman era, kind of either pantaloons or big skirt and like tight vest kind of situation.
I think cameras probably had a big say in sequins because it glitters nicely on the cameras, doesn't it? So maybe that was part of it, and the lights.
And especially in black and white where your pretty colours don't show up. So you just have to make everything really blingy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's always interesting to kind of like consider those kind of aspects of why things are as they are as well, because it's very fascinating to find out those little things about that.
So things like, you know, the easier production of things like sequins, you know, making them out of plastic rather than being glass or crystals, or, you know, the sort of industrialization of costume.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that what I was always told, whether this is true or not, I don't know, was that dancers would go from village to village and they would dance for coins, and they would sew the coins onto their clothes and their costumes, and they would earn themselves a dowry so they could buy themselves a decent husband. And as things changed, and as sequins came in and plastics came in and stuff, it basically became that the more sequins you had, the better. And you were a dancer was the kind of follow through from that. So I don't know if that's true, but certainly part of something that I've been kind of led to believe over the years anyway.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. There we go then.
And also that they didn't have banks, so they
Yeah.
had to keep the money.
Yeah.
And even outside of the world of dance, then having coins as part of like traditional dress as a way of storing your wealth has definitely been a thing historically as well. Like I've seen some very interesting like historical costumes, I think from like Lebanon actually, like headdresses with loads of rows of coins on that were just things that women wore every day, like not dance costumes. Just like, oh well, you just sew all of your wealth to your hat and that's what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep it with you, don't you? That way you don't lose it. Yeah. And there's also the tradition of things like cowrie shells and things being used as money too. So that's why tribal dancers would use the cowrie shells as well. So that's kind of much more of a modern historical thing to do with belly dance, but it's kind of come from other cultures for that.
While we're talking about costumes, I just want to say I've I've seen Paula perform a couple of times now, because I know I don't really know you, Paula, but I've seen you a few times at events, and I love the fact that you always bring something very like traditional in terms of your costuming and your moves that you do, and it's not something that I see very often or have seen very often, like at Haflas and things. And I think it's really lovely that you're still kind of being true to that kind of style of dance, and I really enjoy it. So I just wanted you to know that.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I don't really suit the two-piece though. I'm too fat.
Oh, no.
I'm in the
Not
same
at all.
box there.
I'm getting there too.
Always wear what you're comfortable with. That's the
Yeah,
important
absolutely.
thing.
Nothing like being covered up now. Paula, do you have any favourite dancers?
Any favourite dancers?
Yes.
Fifi.
Yes.
There's just so many, aren't there, really? I do prefer more of the older dancers than more recent ones, to be honest.
Yeah.
But that's just my preference, not that they're, I think they're better dancers or anything like that. It's just I like it plain and simple, and not too much too technical I'm not a very technical dancer. So yeah, I like it quite plain, simple. So yeah. So Fifi, definitely.
Gorgeous.
One of my all-time favourites. Yeah. What
Lush.
about you?
Yeah, Fifi, but I probably Nagua Fouad is probably my
Oh yeah, yeah,
time
yeah,
favorite, just for her joy. I
yeah.
just get so much joy from her dancing, and just so lucky to have attended a workshop with her, and that just sort of reinforced everything. The thing that really came across, she was so warm and funny too, really funny, and a really generous teacher. I don't know, she just seemed like such a true woman, just really got a lot from her. I mean, she was, a bit of a diva in as much she was on Egyptian time and very late for the thing, and insisting on a coffee and all the rest of it when we were waiting. But I didn't really care about any of that because she was just so fabulous. Gorgeous.
Oh, thank you for sharing that story because, this is part of it. This is all part of the history of it and these experiences that you've had, it's
We've
really
been
good that
lucky,
we share.
haven't we, that they've managed to get over to the UK. At least, they used to, not so much now. But the fact that we can sit here having been with them and seeing them up close and personal, that's really special, definitely.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it's true, but something that I kind of heard was because the Red Troop were on Egyptian television so often, a lot of Egyptians don't really see belly dance in the way that it should be, in the traditional way that it is. They think the Red Troop was quite traditional Egyptian when there was an awful lot of balletic influence and even jazz influence in it. Is that true? Have you heard that, Rachel?
So I think there's definitely something in it, but I think it's like a little bit more complicated. Like because people don't see what the Redder troupe did or do as belly dance.
Okay.
Like they kind of there's a distinction between like Raqs Shar'i, Raqs Baladi as what we do, and then like Fanun Shabeya, which is like folk arts, but it's more the kind of stage like theatrical folklore. So people definitely see a difference between belly dance and Fanun Shabeya, but it's more that the theatrical folklore from the Redder troupe and the Firket Kalmeya, the national folklore troupe, has kind of started to overwrite the traditional dances that it was based on.
Right.
Especially because the Egyptian government's been really proactive about then getting dancers from these folklore troupes to go back out to the original places and teach their folklore versions of the dances. So now it's like what they originally based it on kind of doesn't exist anymore and has often been replaced by this like theatrical stage version to some extent.
Yeah.
Or that people don't recognise the original version as like the real thing anymore because they've seen the theatrical stage version.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of part of what we as British teachers are kind of up against really as well, when we're trying to be kind of like as sympathetic as possible and trying to kind of like portray things as kind of close to the original as possible. It's difficult.
And certainly for me, I've totally like it's really messed me up, especially as far as teaching Saidi goes, because I realise that most of the Saidi I've learned is really like it's Redder troupe style. It's not how people actually dance in Upper Egypt. And then I'm like, well, I'm teaching this, but what am I even teaching? So I always give a bit of a disclaimer of like, well, there's real Saidi done by people in the Said. There's theatrical folklore Saidi, and then there's Saidi that belly dancers do, which is theatrical folklore Saidi but sexy, basically. And then I'm basically teaching like Saidi as it's done by like a belly dancer in a Cairo nightclub, not as it's done by anyone in Luxor, because that's what I've had the opportunity to learn, because that's what gets taught. So
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully you can kind of tell from that story that it's very difficult. And as long as you kind of have those disclaimers and stuff, and you don't try to kind of like say that it's anything that it isn't, then I think
the longer I do this, the more I think that just being really honest about what your sources were is like the biggest thing. And like I think I say a lot to my students, like, I've heard this thing, but I can't remember where I heard it, so don't just go and believe it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or I do know where I heard it, but I don't know whether it's right. So don't, for goodness sake, go off and tell people that it's the ultimate truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, there's always a lot of context to be given, isn't there? Especially when you're introducing something new. And like you say, lots of disclaimers.
Yeah. I think that's why I got into fusion so much more, because it was just easier. I could just say it's fusion, and then it's just like I'm not misrepresenting anybody else, it's just fusion. So yeah, yeah.
I was just thinking that because I really am a very novice dancer and don't really, know too much about any of this stuff. And so I'm always really scared to do anything too traditional, especially if it's Paula and I choreographing it ourselves, although Paula's more knowledgeable than I am, because I don't want to kind of misrepresent anything. So I walk the other path and hope that it's safe.
For what it's worth, having like at this point taken quite a lot of classes with Egyptian teachers and having worked quite a lot with Egyptian musicians, I think that generally if people can see that you're making a really good, honest effort, like they appreciate that. And even if something's like not 100% like culturally accurate, they're just like, well, they're trying, and we appreciate this, we respect this.
For sure. And also it's dance, it's a response to the music. And
Yeah.
yes, we can learn technique and we can be given all as many tools as we can, but there's also an element where you do want to dance as yourself, isn't there? You don't want to be a clone, you don't want to copy other people. So it's a balance, isn't it? That takes a long time, I think, to get there. But to take it, still on that journey. Once I got there, you want to give the technique all its worth, but you still want to find your own way through it and with it, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's a fine balance, isn't it? And then the thing is, it's just like any kind of art form. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed by it, because if you're doing the best you can, then that's all you can do, really. And yeah, we're here because we're interested. We're here because we want to learn and we want to know more. So it's just, yeah, give yourself a break, really. Yeah, we're talking about not the different styles not being kind of like seen as the same thing, whereas in this country we kind of put it all under a banner of, oh, it's all belly dance, whereas it just isn't seen that way in Egypt, for instance, or in other countries. So it was interesting that when the belly dance superstars wanted to go and dance in Egypt, they didn't see that as belly dance at all. They didn't see it as being as anything to do with them. So they were quite happy for them to come to Egypt, because they couldn't actually see their dance in that style at all. Even though Jelena is a very good historian and she does, put a lot of effort into that kind of thing. But just because it was such a stage kind of showy type thing, they just they didn't identify with it like that at all. So
Oh, this is bringing back memories, because when I first started dancing was kind of height of the belly dance superstars thing, like
yeah,
Shakira belly dance superstars.
yeah.
That period about 2008 where teachers were suddenly finding that their classes were full to the brim. I was part of that influx, and now I look back on it like I was watching belly dance superstars videos on YouTube as like how to learn what was going on. And now, as you say, yeah, like Egyptians didn't even recognize it as the same dance form because it's so choreographed.
Yeah. But I mean, things like that are good, because if we don't have that kind of thing happening, art forms die out. I mean, this is the reason it's an art form. It gets changed. Every dancer that touches it will add a different take on it. And when we have the big kind of things like the belly dance superstars and stuff, it gets people interested. So it might be that they saw it and they liked some of the music, and then they got involved in it, and now actually it's not that kind of thing that they like. They like the pure Egyptian, more folkloric kind of styles now. So it's that kind of, it's a gateway, it's a bridge into these things. So, and I think that's quite often in a lot of cultures as well. It may be that the native people of this dance style don't even want to actually practice it. it's all part of generational things and political movements and all that kind of things. It could be that at home for a while it just goes out of favour and people don't even want to do it. And if it wasn't for foreigners being interested in it, it could actually disappear. I know that's certainly the case with the geisha in Japan and kimonos and things, that if it wasn't for Kate's taught me all about this, so that's Kate Fuzzy Reality there. So if it wasn't for them, there wouldn't be that industry anymore. So it's kind of like, don't think that because you're foreign, you don't have a valid kind of input into it or a part to play in it, really. And I think I've struggled with that for a very long time, but it's that kind of, after a lot of reading and a lot of kind of like working this out and a lot of other different styles and different kind of art forms, I kind of can see that that is actually the case, and lots of things would have disappeared had people not been interested from the non-native lands. So I don't know.
For what it's worth, I think there's a lot of belly dance as a social dance in the whole kind of Eastern Mediterranean region. Like, absolutely, people are doing it at home, people are doing it with friends and family. Like, I don't think that's ever going to be at any risk of dying out. It's still massively popular, and you don't really see that because it's often women dancing in quite private settings where they don't want to be seen by strangers and they don't want to video it and put it on the internet. But because I'm living in quite a multicultural area of Manchester, I have quite a lot of Arab students in my classes, so I get to like talk to them and stuff, and it's definitely very, very alive and well.
Brilliant.
In that context, and in Egypt as well. Like, there's a lot of professional belly dance happening, but often in settings that we don't see as much. Like in the settings where people are videoing and putting it on the internet, it's mostly these really expensive, like upper class venues that cost more than most Egyptians earn in 2 months to get in. And this is the places where they've got like these foreign dancers like Russians, Eastern Europeans, South Americans. But then there are still loads and loads and loads of Egyptian professional dancers who are working in cabarets and at weddings and stuff like this that doesn't get filmed and put on the internet. So it's a very alive dance.
It's good to hear, really good to hear.
And yeah, I feel like people just sort of need that reassurance because there's so much going on that we just don't really get to see from outside. And there are definitely issues, like especially the lack of money in the Egyptian entertainment industry in the last couple of decades has really caused like a lot of problems for the dance and a lot of problems for the musicians who play for the dance. Mm-hmm. But it's not like on the verge of the dance dying out. It's more like people are having to dance to a keyboard and a drummer instead of a full orchestra.
There was I did hear at some point that if you hadn't been to university as a musician, you weren't allowed to go on Egyptian TV anymore. I don't know if that's true, and that caused an awful lot of problems with like the self-taught musicians from Mohammed Ali Street. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know specifically about that, but there's a lot of stuff around, just kind of censorship and control of who's allowed on like state media and stuff. I'd be surprised if you literally had to have a degree to go on TV. But this is something I'm going to have to go and ask people about. But yeah, definitely things along that line are happening. Like, I don't know if anyone heard the whole thing about Hassan Shakush, the Shavi singer, who he was quite controversial, very popular, most popular singer in Egypt in the last couple of years. Got invited to sing, I think it was the like annual big fancy do of the Musicians Union, and they told him that you can only do this if you take out the reference to hashish in your song, and he didn't, and he just sang it, and then they banned him from television.
Okay. That's kind of like a traditional musician thing, isn't it? The amount of Western musicians that have done that over the years.
Yeah, and Egyptian shabby musicians, yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear.
And Zara's very informative about licensing, isn't she? She's done some reels, put some reels out on Facebook about licensing, which is very interesting in the current theme in Cairo.
Is it still seen as like a bit of a shameful thing for like if if you were living in Egypt and like your daughter wanted to be a belly dancer, is that still like a thing that is kind of frowned upon?
Absolutely.
It's strange, isn't it? Because it's almost like such a contrast, because I thought that was the case, but I'd hoped that might have like have changed a little bit. But then why do all these big weddings in Egypt, they all have a belly dancer as the entertainment, and it just seems
Like the way that I try to explain this to my students is that like even in the UK there are a lot of people who would be totally fine with a lot of forms of dance, but if their daughter was like, I want to be like a commercial dancer and be in MTV videos, you'd be like, oh my God, no, don't do that. Like, go and do something else. Just go to dance classes for fun. Like, I think it's that kind of thing. Like, even if you enjoy something, you watch it on the TV and you like it, and maybe even you have it at your wedding, you still don't think it's a good career path for your children. Or like, there's still a lot of, I think, especially posh people who would be horrified if their kids wanted to become actors. Like,
Oh, I don't know now. It's only posh people who can.
well, no, now it's a bit different because now working class people can't afford to go into the arts, but
Things keep flipping, don't they, over time? I think it's one of those double
but I
standards
think
that all
in
cultures have, isn't it?
I think most cultures have a bit of a general like looking down on entertainers or seeing entertainers as kind of a bit marginalized in some way. And in Egypt, with professional dancers, that's just like ramped up to 100 because there's a whole cultural thing about like women showing their bodies as well, which dancers are doing, in addition to being a professional entertainer, which is already a bit like on the edges of society.
But that's the irony, isn't it, with the amount of money that they can earn as a top dancer. So again, it's yes, a strange sort of double standard. But I think, like I say, we all have them. But when it's your own, you don't recognise it as such, perhaps.
Yeah.
But obviously, there's the religious pressure as well, isn't there?
And I think there's a book that I mentioned in one of the Facebook threads that's really informative on this. In fact, there are probably two books that are really informative on this, but A Trade Like Any Other by Karin van Newkirk was written in the 1990s, and she interviewed quite a few professional dancers, mostly from like quite a traditional background, about their lives, and really looked into why there's this social stigma around it, and that's really interesting. And then there's also Core Connections by Christine Shaheen, which is quite recent, and she's similarly gone and like watched a lot of dance shows in Egypt, talked to a lot of the dancers, and kind of analysed their social status. So these two are both really nice books on this, although I have to say the Christine Shaheen one, I'm halfway through it at the moment, and it's quite hard going if you don't really like reading academic humanities writing, but
I think that's a tricky one, and also a lot of the dancers just feel it's a calling, don't they? You know, they can't not do it. It's not something that they feel they can step away from. And so many dancers, they do. They lose family and friends because of it, but that's the price they pay.
and then there are some who are kind of hiding it from their family, or their family kind of pretend they don't know.
Yes, yes.
And then with Egyptian dancers often as well, they have their own ways of making it so that in their own mind and in their own interaction, people are like, I'm a respectable woman even though I do this like job that is seen as socially a really dodgy job.
I think standards are always changing wherever you live, really. I mean, because when I started teaching 25 years ago, I know that there were some women who did not tell their family that they were going to a belly dance class. And now it's kind of like, well, belly dance is quite tame compared to like heels classes or burlesque classes and things. So it's just kind of like, yeah, it's how things change. And again, that's due to political climate and fundamentalism, whether it's on the rise or on the down. It's it's
That was like that for me, Lynn. When I started dancing,
yeah.
I never told any of my friends,
Ah.
even my close friends, that I was dancing, belly dancing, because I didn't know how they would react. And it was many, many years before I did that on. Most of them were okay about it. Probably the men weren't so keen. They thought it was a bit like, really? Belly dancing? But now it's not so bad, I find, and to be honest, I don't really care anymore. I just think I do it for me. I enjoy it. It gives me great fun. It gives me happiness, and I love to share, and I love to learn from anyone who wants to share with me. So I just think they're the ones missing out.
I think you got the crux of it right there, Carol, absolutely. And kind of encapsulates everything about learning anything is don't care about what other people think, just do what makes you happy. Yeah.
I do know people who kept it quiet from their workplace because maybe they were in a public facing role, or maybe a doctor or lawyer or something, and they thought
Definitely.
it wasn't
Yeah.
quite appropriate to reveal that.
It's only now that I'm a lot older, probably too old for people to worry about what I look like. But I find a lot of the men, now they've got older, they'll say to me things like, even last night, "Oh, are you going to do a little dance for us?" And I go, "No." "Oh, why ever not?" "It's not that kind of dance." I'll go, and I'll walk away because I don't like the way they put a reference, the way they refer to it. And I just thought, no, this is an art form that we've spent time developing and learning. I'm not just going to step on the floor and just entertain a group of men because it suits them. That's not right.
Good for you, absolutely.
Definitely not.
And that's actually the origin of how Fat Chance Bellydance got their name. Was they would be asked to do a little dance and they'd say Fat Chance to them, so that's how they got their name.
There is such a stigma with it all. There's still, if you perform anywhere,
Oh yeah.
you're still thought of as, oh, you're going to get your titty tassels out or this, and you think, yeah, that's not what it's all about. And you even get it from women as well. They seem to look down on it quite a bit as well sometimes. So I don't know. Yeah.
Yes, it's still got all those associations, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And people have been working hard to get it seen as an art form. But then again, things change again, and the modern scene has all gone very titty, I have to say. The emphasis has moved very much from the hips to the breasts, hasn't it? With modern dancers, they're very much for.
I think we can thank Sofinar for that.
Right.
This has brought back a memory of when I was 21 and I had just graduated from university and I was going to interviews for jobs as a software developer. And I had on my CV that I was the secretary of the Oxford Middle Eastern Dance Society, because I was like, committee role, I've done lots of organising, transferable skills. And one of the software companies I was interviewed at, the interviewer very seriously looked at me and said, "Belly dancing, and do your parents know you do that?"
Oh.
It's like, yeah, they've been to my shows that I organised, but I didn't get that job and I didn't want to.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
That was probably the weirdest reaction that I've ever had.
They obviously had an idea about it.
Yeah, I think again it's a thing that women have to face, isn't it? But I mean, even actresses as well, they have like you say, there's a lot of titties and stuff out there and things, and it's just, I actually get so fed up of the amount of sex scenes and things and stuff, and it's just like, it's so not real. It's just like, what are we teaching young people? It's just, yeah, not good, but yeah.
I don't know, has that not got, I mean, I don't know, I don't watch a lot of modern drama, but I've just been rewatching This Life, the repeats of that show from the 90s, and it was wall to wall nudity and sex scenes. And actually I don't think we see that quite so much now on the telly, but perhaps I'm just watching different things, I don't know.
Recently, I've mostly been watching Egyptian TV because I'm trying to use it to improve my Arabic, and it's sort of fascinating because I think it might maybe be illegal to show kisses. Because I've watched several romantic dramas and not seen the main characters kiss at all in literally a romance TV series. Like maybe they'll hold hands and hugging seems to be allowed, but even if it's the bride and groom, nothing beyond holding hands.
I should start watching Egyptian TV, shouldn't I?
Do you get that on YouTube, Rachel? Where do you watch it?
So I've mostly been watching on shahid.net, which is like the Arabic language version of NBC.
Yeah.
And for what it's worth, everything on there has English subtitles, and the website has an English, like you can switch it between Arabic and English. But at the moment, I'm watching a series called Paranormal, which is on Netflix and is originally Egyptian, but they've like dubbed it into English as well if you don't want to watch with subtitles. And if you like ghost stories, I think that's really good. We've watched the first 2 episodes so far. My partner's going along with just being made to watch only Arabic language television at the moment.
And is there much dancing on Egyptian TV?
Hit and miss. So there's one series which is really worth a watch actually, which is called Ish Ish, and that's on shahid.net, and it's literally a whole series about a like working class dancer. And oh, she's so beautiful and she's a wonderful dancer, but she wants to leave dance and improve her life by learning English and getting a job in a call centre. But there are loads of music and dance scenes. There are some really famous shabby singers. Like I think in the first sort of 6 episodes or something, you see Hassan Shakush, Abdel Basset Hamouda, and like several other really famous shabby singers. And this wildly dramatic storyline involving her falling in love with a gangster. So, but that you get a lot about like the social attitudes to dance that we were talking about, and the social attitudes to musicians. Like one of the major characters in it, his like dark secret is that his father was actually a drummer. And when people want to insult him, they call him son of a drummer. So, yeah, you see a bit of that if you watch that, and it was quite entertaining.
I think that's a must-watch for all of us, isn't it? Please put the details up.
Although, depressingly, the dance scenes were all done by a body double to the Egyptian actress, who is actually a Russian dancer called, was it Vlada? No, it's not Vlada, it's the other one, Olga. I then saw Olga dancing last time I was in Egypt in October, and she's all right. But it would have been nice if the body double for the dance scenes had been an Egyptian dancer and not a Russian, when it's meant to be a working class Egyptian woman. But anyway.
Politics again, I'm sure. Does anybody have anything more to add, or anything that we may have skipped over and you didn't feel that we could talk about it because we were talking about something else?
I suppose the best way to find things out is to go there.
It
I don't
definitely
think
gives
I'm
you
getting a pass currently.
a whole different perspective to actually just like go to Egypt, see how things are, meet people, like see the different contexts that dance happens in.
The only time I've been to Egypt is when I've been there diving, and we didn't have the best experience at all both times. We got harassed by the guys so much it became a nightmare. We just decided we get back on the ship and stop on there. It was just too much hassle to even try and enjoy the society. It just wasn't enjoyable. So, which is a bit of a shame, really, because I hear all these other stories and I think, oh, that sounds really nice.
I think it's possibly more like that in the kind of beach resorts and stuff, because in Cairo I've never had a lot of issues, but I think in some of the tourist places there's quite an issue with guys who basically want to like romance scams where they kind of hit on tourist women to try and get their money, and that's a whole thing.
It was definitely a money thing, yeah.
Yeah.
They used to rip us off under taxes and all sorts. It was not very nice, but I think chased us once or twice. They demanded extra money, and when we said no, we've paid the rate, they chased us. We had to run back to the hotel, so it wasn't a very nice experience at all.
It's quite common in all in lots of Arab places, actually.
Yeah,
Actually,
it was. Yeah, you're
even
right.
once in Istanbul, we had a taxi driver that was trying to take us for a ride, literally, on the money front and stuff. And I think it's kind of like it's not necessarily.
Yeah,
I think it's anywhere where there's just a big like wealth difference between countries. People recognise if you're from a rich country that you're not on an equal footing with them, and it's kind of awkward, I think. Especially dealing with taxi drivers where like I know and they know that what would be a ridiculous fare for them to charge an Egyptian is like 50p for me, and then it's like, well, how much do you let them rip you off knowing that an amount that's quite a lot for them is like small
Yeah,
change in the UK.
Or the
you're
opposite.
right. You're right. It is any country.
Although I found the opposite in Morocco, I'm trying to buy something in the souk and they insist on haggling, and you think it's, it seems the cheapest amount of money to begin with, and they still want you to haggle. Oh, I
Yeah.
find that really hard.
God, I can't haggle to save my life.
Oh,
This
it's so
this is
hard.
my main problem in Egypt. I'm too British. I can't do it.
Exactly.
I
You're
make a
so welcome.
half-hearted effort and
Yeah.
end up paying the full price usually because I'm too awkward.
The best thing to do is walk away, really, and then they love chasing after you, and they will drop the price to like nothing because I can't haggle either. But if I walk away, it's just like what? They just keep dropping the price, no matter even when I'm not saying anything. So yeah,
I have to try that one, Lynn.
yeah, it does work.
There's some quite sort of nice looking organized trips. That's the sort of thing I would maybe think of. I'm not brave enough these days to venture out alone. Like I want a guide.
I will say the ones that Kay Taylor organises are really good. I've done a few with her. I think she looks after people well, but also she does it in a way where you do actually kind of interact with Egyptian society, whereas some things you're just getting like trundled around in an air-conditioned bus between tourist resorts. And for better or worse, Kay will have you in the back of a taxi. Sometimes a bit of an adventure.
But that must be nice if you're with a group of ladies that are all there for the same reason. That must be quite enjoyable.
Yeah, it's I think it's quite fun to have some sort of camaraderie.
Mm.
Yeah, and having a guide, having somebody who knows where the best places to see dancers are and things, it's utterly invaluable, really, because you can go to places and just end up just seeing the tourist stuff because you don't know where the decent places are.
I think the main good thing about going with a group as well is that you can then potentially go to cabarets, whereas if you're on your own, going to a cabaret is really dodgy because they're basically like the only women who are there are working in some capacity, shall we say.
Okay.
But if you go with a group of tourists, then you can kind of get away with it. And some really good dancing and music happens in these places, but it's just not a place you would go on your own as a woman.
I think Nawara does a couple of Morocco trips a year, doesn't she? I think. So they looked quite interesting as well. But yeah, one day I'll get a pass, maybe when he's grown up and left home. When he's 18 or something.
Yeah,
I might have the money then.
yeah. It's always nice to have something in the pot you'd want to look forward to, isn't it? It's that kind of, yeah, one day. Yeah.
So have any of you done, other than Rachel, done those trips abroad? Anyone else done them?
Yeah,
No?
I did one with Shona Hagen, like might be 6 years ago now. Yeah, that was quite good. Yeah, had a
Where
good
was
time.
that for there?
Cairo. Yeah, so we saw. We had. What's her name? Sarah. I can't think of her last name. Very friendly with the Yasmina.
Sarah Farouk.
Farouk, that's it. Yeah, she was one of our guides. She did quite a few things with us. So yeah, it was quite good.
And I think if you don't go with a group, the other thing is that Yasmin has got her B&B and she's very good at organising things for people.
Yes,
So I
I
know
did
a lot of
fancy
people,
that.
if you're going with just like a couple of friends, I think a lot of dancers just go and stay with Yasmina and kind of get her to organise stuff.
Yeah, so her B&B looks so lovely.
It does.
She's not always there, is she? Does she do sometimes she's there and sometimes there are other people
Yeah,
organising?
because I think Yasmina's in the UK quite a lot these days because her son's at university in Leeds, I think.
Yeah.
Shall we round it up there then? If anybody's got anything else they'd like to say, please do so. But seems like a nice note to end on, that we can all kind of picture ourselves going to Egypt sometime and going to watch these wonderful shows somewhere. That would be nice. Just making sure anybody doesn't want to say anything else. Emma, do you want to round up for us?
Sorry, I couldn't unmute then. I think it's been really interesting. We could probably talk about it for many hours, but it's such a vast topic. But I think, like you've said before, and I think some of the others have said, I think as teachers, as long as we're not kind of trying to teach something that we don't really know about, like, or I like to be very transparent with my students. If there's something I don't know, then I'll say I don't really know a lot about this, and I'll try and give them kind of places to go and look that up, or even give them names of teachers that will know that far better than me. So I think it's just, I think we're trying our best to find things out, and it's okay to not know it all, but to just try and find out as much as we can. Yeah, and I just think everything helps. Like Rachel's newsletter helps, Zara's Zamina helps, YouTube clips. There's so much out there now. We are really lucky. So yeah, I think compared to when I started dancing like over 20 years ago, I think there's so much more out there. So we are really lucky in that respect. So yeah.
Lovely. Well, thank you all for your time and your input. Really, really appreciate it, because I'm always terrified that nobody will come to this and I'll just have to try and say stuff for an hour or so. So thank you so much, because yeah, the only way we can learn is to bounce off each other, really.
Oh, it's been lovely. Thank you. Lovely to see you all.
Thank you,
Yeah,
everyone.
thank you. It's been nice to be able to join. I don't know when I will again, because I normally teach until like 8:30 on Tuesdays, but I'm glad I made it to this one.
Yeah, really lovely to have you with us. Thank you so much.
It's nice to see you again, Rachel. I did one of your dance workshops a while ago when I was with Kay up at Borwick.
Are you coming this year?
No, I'm not coming this year. I've had to rein it in this year. We've had a lot of family issues, so yeah, not much to do this year, I'm afraid. Maybe next year.
Fingers crossed.
Well, yeah, we'll need a topic for next month. So May, the first Tuesday in May, I don't know what that date is, but if anyone's got any ideas, please post it on the group. And also, if there's anything that you kind of mentioned, please link it in the group so that we can go and look at that too. And yeah, anything else you find, post it in the group. That'd be lovely. And at the moment, I'm doing a thread of please post your favourite dance pics. Can be from whenever, but it's that kind of, we are all part of making this history. So, pop your pictures of what you've been up to over the years on there, because we want to see, and stuff that was like 10 years ago, it's like, oh my gosh, that's really quaint to me now, like costumes that I wore 10 years ago, it's like, oh yeah, it's just interesting to see the differences and things. So that would be lovely. Thank you all for your time. Take care, everyone.
Thank
you so
you.
much. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.